Hello all you bladers, today we're going to be evolving Archer Hercules into DB. So it was one of the most powerful right spin stamina types in Beyblade Burst Turbo obviously, so we're going to be using the Perseus core not only because of how heavy it is, but because Perseus and Hercules are kind of both similar in the Greek mythology aspect. And we're going to be using the Burst Blade because it kind of resembles the little spike Archer Hercules had in between the wings with this little red notch here. And like Perseus, it's a golden brown color, so it matches the color scheme, and it's very thick and square blocky shape. Wing Dash kind of looks like the 13 disc. I couldn't really think of anything else, so we're just going to be using it because it makes sense. We're going to use the Zero Armor because it's a symmetrical stamina type. And the idea with the Eternal driver originally was that it was supposed to be a low-sitting, like, free spin kind of driver. So you kind of, like, sat low and rolled off the attack. So Never is a very low driver. With this sharp tip, it can kind of use for some nice defense. So this will be very stable and very nice to use. And let's just see how it plays out in the stadium. And see, so that's very stable with a Never driver, obviously. Try it against Valkyrie. A better attacker. Flawless. Yeah, so it knocked it out pretty easily there. Hercules is actually known as a pretty solid bay in Turbo for its defense, so it should theoretically work here with Never. And the first. Longinus actually came back in there, but yeah, it should theoretically work pretty well for like at least defense because of the Never driver, how low it is in the Perseus core. But I guess you even then can't stop something like Longinus from taking you out once in a while. That's something. And it did slightly outspin it there, but not by much. So you can kind of see how the Destroy driver is still relevant. Let's try it against Perfect Divine. So a much heavier bay than it, much bigger too, but it's holding pretty steady as it should as a stamina type. Doing pretty well. It outspun it, and obviously Wing Dash is not the best part to pair with it, but neither was 13 disc for the original Hercules. Let's try it against something a little bit more aggressive, Excalibur. And that is just the scraping of the Xanthus disc doing its work there. Let's try that again. Hard hit there. Hercules kind of went on a counterattack. Yeah, you can see like the burst or the recoil of burst when there's two attack types in here. Let's give it a little bit of a couple minutes. So Thebes is up against it now. Yeah, it's still, you'll notice that the Never driver is actually like able to kind of twist on its ring instead of actually just kind of like scraping like the Eternal would tilt on the side, so that's cool. Speaking of Never, let's try it against Cyclone with Wave Dash. It's kind of like a weirder stamina type. See what it can hold up to. Wave Dash is a very good stamina driver, and Cyclone just by chance has Giga as its disc, so I wouldn't be surprised if Cyclone would actually win here, because it's not making contact with the Cyclone layer, so Cyclone would actually win here. But I'd assume that obviously without the Wave Dash driver, that Burst would probably take it, so that's interesting to note. And so obviously Iger was a pretty close friend of Hercules, as the Beyblade anime is, so it wouldn't make sense if we don't do it against Achilles in sword balance mode. Although it kind of looks like shield mode from this angle. I don't even know what the sword mode is on Achilles, but I'm pretty sure the sword on top is sword and the sword on bottom is defense or something, but it's hard to say with the Zest because it just looks so similar. Especially because I don't normally use the right side. I usually have Zest Achilles and left. But yeah, it does pretty much destroy Achilles here as far as stamina. Yeah, okay. So that was pretty easy for it. But the question is, can it hold up against Achilles when it comes to attack? And the attack mode. Gotta get that there. Yeah, so the attack mode really isn't doing much against Achilles, or against Hercules, I should say. It's just not very... Achilles isn't very suited for it. Zest is more of a rounder shape. And plus, Quattro's taller, so you kind of like nullify the attack there anyway. Speaking of attack, let's try Astral Spriggan Right Spin Stamina mode. Because Astral's a lot more aggressive than Zest, so it should have some nice attacks with it. That should be interesting to see. It might beat it here as far as like stamina. It might actually, yeah, it beat it here. Quattro and Over are very good parts for same spin stamina. Not even like it was literally in stamina mode, so you can kind of justify that part of it. Let's try it against Greatest Raphael, which is like, it's very hard to beat. Literally Over high extend plus dash and high mode, which are all like, this being so low, it's kind of hard to beat. Hard to beat Raphael, even with Hercules' setup. But let's just see how well it does. We already kind of ran it through the gauntlet with the attack types. It did pretty well, as Hercules normally would. Although, to be honest, when you go later on in Cho-Z, Hercules, dare I say this, wasn't as powerful as it was. Like, it was really good early on, but then, like, just straight up Revive Phoenix came, and it was very strong competitor. Perfect Phoenix, then Cho-Z Spriggan, and the other right spin bait, like Air Knight. Well, Air Knight wasn't really too much of a problem, but Hercules was kind of already losing relevance at the end of Cho-Z, dare I say. So it really wasn't like too much of a powerhouse as something like Phoenix might have been. This is Divine Belial without the V gear. Kind of just hitting it hard there. Yeah, so it holds its ground pretty well. The Never Driver is able to push on the side and keep itself in the center instead of knocking it out on the sides. So it's able to spin for a pretty nice amount of time. And I think that's where we're going to end it off here with Hercules. It was a pretty nice evolution, I would say. It did pretty well in terms of stamina. And I felt like I did pretty good in terms of like matching the parts and everything. Burst Perseus, Wing Dash Metal Never 4, or 0, sorry. Just kind of made sense with the shape and the core and the mythological Perseus and the color scheme and everything, although I could have gone with a black and gold Never Driver if I had that. There might have been a better disc to go with it also, but that wouldn't really match it because the 13 disc was kind of off balance with Hercules anyway. And that's kind of just how it is. So yeah, that'll be it for Archer Hercules' evolution into Dynamite Battle. I'll definitely be doing some more evolution videos just because it's something that seems very popular, first of all. And it's also something that is very interesting to do because not a lot of bays that have been, we've seen in the past have been evolved into the next generation. So it's not just like evolving into Dynamite Battle, it's also taking Dynamite Battle bays maybe and taking them and putting them into GT or Turbo or something of that nature. So I'll definitely be doing some more of those and just out of the box stuff, more. Yeah, that'll be it. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and don't forget to keep on blading.